Welcome to Screen to Speed Drivers Edition, where we sit down and talk with the women participating in the Screen to Speed competition. So, what exactly is Screen to Speed? Well, Screen to Speed is an all-women sim racing competition developed for women by women that seeks to create a pipeline to bring more women into motorsports from sim racing. So, how does it work, you might ask? It's simple. The competition is open to all women worldwide. First, you have to meet the qualifier, where it's not just your skills on the sim track, but how you engage your community that will determine your overall rank. From there, the top 20 women from the online racing qualifier will go to Las Vegas to compete in the IRL competition during the Pennzoil 400 event. The winner of this event will have the opportunity to seat in a Kelly Moss Porsche race car and a chance to show off her skill in real life. Drivers also have the opportunity to win $15,000 in a next level sim racing rig. So without any further ado, let's bring on our guest today, Els Indriani. Hey Els, how's it going?
Hi, great. Hello,
Well,
everyone.
it is great to have you participate and be a part of this, and thank you for your time. I want to always open it up the same way, since we are a worldwide international competition. I'm always curious to know where all of our drivers are from. So where are you from, Els? Where are you calling in from today?
I'm from Indonesia, but I
Nice.
currently live in the United States.
Okay, and what part of the United States?
I'm in Chicago.
All right, the Windy City. Nice, nice,
Yes,
nice.
the windy city.
Are you enjoying that winter weather?
Honestly, no, because it's super cold, like very
Yes.
cold.
Yes,
So
it is.
actually, no. But the city itself, it's pretty.
All
So
right,
it's all
nice.
right. It's a fair trade for me.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, and I'll also say I'm originally from Indiana, so I know that like the summers and the springs in Chicago are amazing.
Yeah, except
Yeah.
the winter. The winter
Yes.
time, no.
Yeah. All right. So let's sort of get into it. Els, tell me a little bit about yourself in terms of like how did you get into sim racing?
Okay, this is a very interesting question.
Okay.
So first of all, I've been playing racing games since I was young, since I was 5 or 6.
Wow.
So basically, my parent bought like a PlayStation One and a
Hmm.
game, like just a random game, and I randomly pick up Gran Turismo back then. I started to playing it, like just play the single player, just try to
Okay.
get the license and stuff, and I started to love it. But back in the day, because I'm a girl, so my mom was like, "You're a girl. You don't have to play racing games. You
Mhm.
don't have to play racing game. You're just like a boys, something
Oh
like that."
wow. Yeah.
And that's why I stopped a bit. Like I stopped and focused on my education and stuff. And then back in 2020, during the pandemic time, basically I cannot go out. I cannot travel. I cannot go to office or whatever. So
Hmm.
I just stay at home. I was bored, like super bored back then. And then I pick up like my old PlayStation 4
Okay.
and started to play Gran Turismo Sports, started to, get the driver rating, the safety rating and
Hmm.
stuff. And I was like, this is pretty fun, and it feels different than the last time when I play as a child.
Yes.
Today I feel like it is more competitive. It is more complicated. Racing is complicated, in my
Yeah.
opinion.
Yes. I know. I agree with you. I think it might be a fact, not necessarily an opinion. So.
Yeah. So I feel like, okay, I want to get better and better in racing games. I want to get better. That's why
Hmm.
back in 2020, December 2020, I think it was my first, like my very first championship back then. Like December 2020 was the first time I got into a national competition
Uh
in
huh.
Indonesia. But I didn't do good back then. Like I'm still figuring out how to
Yeah.
race, still learning how to defend properly in the race and
Yeah.
stuff. So, yeah, 2020 December 2020 was the first day I got into sim racing competitively, and
Okay.
I love it even more until today. That's why I'm here
Nice.
still doing it.
If you think about it, right, you sort of started during the pandemic early 2020, and then
Mhm.
about, 10, 11 months later, there you are, in a competition. That is quite a feat. A lot of people, myself included, it took a
Mhm.
couple of years before I got brave enough to be in my first competition. So,
Yeah.
it's really cool that, you just, got your feet wet and decided to jump all the way in. So
Mhm.
I applaud you on that. Now, you mentioned that you're originally from Indonesia.
Yes.
What brought you to the States?
I had to move here.
Hmm.
Basically, I got the green card, so I had to live here. Like, I got to move here. And honestly, if I can share my story a bit to you
Oh,
guys,
definitely. Yes.
it
That's
wasn't
what we're
an
here
easy
for.
way. It wasn't an easy path, because I'm so new to this country. I don't know how everything works here. I have no
Hmm.
friends. And I started doing my career. Like, I switched my career literally from, I was a graphic designer back in
Okay.
Indonesia. Like, I worked 9 to 5 going to the office. And then I switched my career to become a gamer, to become a Twitch streamer. It was like,
Wow.
it was a two different world, honestly.
Yeah.
And I was scared at first, to get into this gaming industry kind of thing, because
Hmm.
I didn't know the way to get into it, and I didn't know the prospect. I didn't know every opportunity. Everything is not as clear as today back
Yeah.
then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but
So
but you did it though, right? Like, I
yeah.
think there's some people out there, and this literally you might inspire someone today because there's some people out there who are like, they don't necessarily want to take that chance. I mean, you took two huge
Yep.
leaps, right? You went from Indonesia to the United States. You were like, I'm going to leave my career as a graphic artist
Mm-hmm.
to,
Become a
become a,
gamer.
a full time Twitch streamer and gamer, and that's
Mm-hmm.
quite the feat. So, I mean,
Yeah.
you are really doing it, and so that's really cool. Now, um, that got you to the United States, right? But I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure that you are still Indonesian proud.
Yep.
And so, what about I know we were talking backstage before we started having this conversation
Mm-hmm.
live, but what is it about Indonesia, and why is that important to you as you pursue this gaming career?
First of all, because I was born and raised in Indonesia.
Hmm.
I spent like most of my time in Indonesia. I have family, I have friends there, and I know that people in Indonesia, especially in sim racing,
Hmm.
people have a lot of potential to compete in international scene of sim racing or esports in general, because we have
Yeah,
a lot of talents. And I'm telling you that competing in Indonesia, competing against sim racer from Indonesia can be very, very competitive. Even it's just a fun race, people will
yeah,
keep doing it competitively. So I'm so proud of my friends or people in Indonesian sim racing community that can, they keep on doing what they like. They keep on racing. They keep on pushing, and yeah, that's why I want to introduce Indonesia more to the world. Like, I want everybody knows that Indonesia exists, and we have a lot of beautiful talent from Indonesia. So
yeah.
yeah, that is one of my mission, actually, getting into international scene of sim racing or gaming.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
well, that's amazing, right? So, I mean, really are living the dream.
I
Here you
am
are.
living the
Yeah.
dream. I
I
can
mean,
tell I am living the dream. Yeah.
yeah, and it's so cool that like you also getting this opportunity to not just represent yourself and present yourself to the world, but
Hmm.
a whole other country and bring them into the forefront of sim racing as well.
Yeah.
So let's get into screen and speed, right? So that's
Okay.
that's what we're here for in a sense. I'm
Hmm.
really interested to get to know what got you here, what got you interested in this competition, and how did
In
you
screen
come about
speed.
coming here? Yeah.
First of all, because I see the flyer
Hmm.
on Instagram, on social media, that the top 20 or top 15 are going to Las Vegas.
Yes.
Because I've been wanting to actually going to actual racetrack,
Okay.
like to actually see and hear the sound of the of the engine and everything.
Hmm.
So I think that what motivates me to compete here in Screen to Speed, because I really want to go to Vegas. I really want to, explore the track in real life, not just in sim. So yeah, that's why I
I
really
totally
want
get it.
to.
I totally get it. No, no, no. I mean, I'm there right with you, right? I'm actually excited and lucky to be able to just to go and participate and be on the track. I think maybe the last time I was on an official track was
Mhm.
maybe I was like 4 or 5, and that was like the Indy 500 because that's where I grew up. But it's really
Oh.
cool to be able to sim race, right? And now
Mhm.
now, because now I have a better understanding of cars and a better understanding of racing.
Mhm.
Not saying I'm an expert, but just like being able to now take that and then actually experience racing in person
In real
as
life.
an
Yeah.
adult. Yeah. So,
Mhm.
and it's interesting you brought that up, right? Like the idea of like experiencing racing in real life.
Yep.
Um, what do you think about this this competition and being able to go from like digital to an opportunity to actually race in a real racing car? What are your thoughts about that?
Thinking about racing a real race car in real life kind of
Yeah.
scares me because I don't
Yeah.
know. I mean, I race a lot in sim, like in iRacing and stuff, but I know that it's gonna be so different from sim to real life.
Hmm.
It scares me a lot actually, but I have another goal other than introducing Indonesia to other people to the world. I also want to just once in my life to experience racing in real life, even it's just a track day or something. I really
Yeah.
want to actually race or drive a fast car because you can actually drive a fast car in Chicago. Otherwise, you'll get like a speeding ticket or stuff.
Yeah, but I
So
want to say I think there. And I cannot remember what it is. I mean, what comes to my head is like Chicago Speedway, but that seems too simple. But there's definitely a racetrack there, and I just cannot. Maybe it is Chicago Speedway, but
yeah, that's
you
a
should.
Chicago Speedway, I think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, you should. I mean, I think you can get out there and try it.
Actually, I kind of want to go to the NASCAR. I think NASCAR
Oh,
will
nice.
have a race in the Chicago Street Circuit. It's in the downtown, basically, the track itself. And
Yeah.
it's pretty close from where I live. So 10 out of
Okay.
10, I think I will go to the Chicago Street Circuit race, the NASCAR
Nice.
race this year.
All
Yeah.
right. So speaking of street courses, you know that the competition and online competition right now is a street course in a NASCAR.
Yep,
Um,
in a NASCAR.
I am curious to know what are you thinking about this? How do you feel about the competition right now? What are your thoughts about the car? What are your thoughts about the track?
um, First of all, I'm mostly race in GT car.
Okay.
So getting from GT car into the NASCAR is like
Hmm.
another different world.
Yes.
Everything is kind of different. The way you brake, the way you upshift, everything is different, and the car behaves differently.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I struggle a lot at first. Honestly, I struggle a lot, but now I start to get the feeling of the car. I
Okay.
started to get the feeling of the car. I got a lot of advice from my friends who mostly drive in the oval, who drive the
Hmm.
NASCAR mostly. So yeah, I started to understand how to drive this car at this point. Still not the fastest, but
Yeah.
I started to get it, and hopefully, I can push my lap time more and more and win the competition. Of course, I want to win. Like, I
Yeah.
really want to go to Las
Yes.
Vegas.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I am there with you. So I'm curious to know what
Mhm,
is, if you could offer any advice for any of the drivers who are also still learning and understanding the track and understanding the
mhm,
car.
mhm,
What is something that you can offer them? Is there anything that you can give them that you've learned or you've figured out that might help
mhm.
them?
What I learned a bit about this car, I think use the clutch for upshift. It feels so much better, and it's easier for you to control the car, to understand more about the car,
Hmm.
because if you only use the throttle and the brake, it feels kind of different, like it
Mm.
feels different in my
Okay.
opinion. So I started to use the clutch pedals on this car, and it was so much easy to going from zero, like going from neutral to first
Hmm.
gear, going into the second, third, something like that. It was so much easier because I did a little bit of the drive before the interview, to
Yeah.
test out everything. And yeah, since I start using the clutch, it feels so much easier to drive this car in Las
Nice.
Vegas road course.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice. All
And the
right.
track itself, maybe because I do a lot of road race than oval in
Uh-huh.
iRacing, because so I get used to find the braking points, and to find the turn in point, to find the exit, something like that.
Yeah.
Um, at this track, you can at first maybe you can actually find the braking point. It's not crystal clear. I mean, here in this track,
Yeah.
but the more you drive into it, you can just find the breaking point easily. Actually, you don't get lost at first. I mean, if this is your very first competition for women, don't be afraid, and don't think too much about the breaking point and stuff. Just
Mhm.
drive, feel the car, see how it behaves and everything. And it's a fun track to drive, surprisingly. At
Nice.
first, I was like, okay, what is this? How do I drive this car at this
Yeah,
track?
you're not
At
the only one.
first, I
I've heard
struggled.
this a lot. I've heard this a lot. So
Yep.
you're not the only one.
Sometimes I
Yeah.
read a bit on the Discord, and some girls are like, "Oh yeah, this car is kind of hard to drive." Yeah,
Yeah.
it is so hard. Like
Yeah.
it's hard at first, but I think once you get used to it, once you actually understand the car behavior, how the car behave and stuff,
Hmm.
it's pretty fun. Actually, it's pretty
Cool.
fun.
Cool. All right, so you've already mentioned that your goal is to win it all, and I think that's any driver, right? Like everybody wants to cross the finish line first.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm really interested to know outside of winning, like what do you hope to get out of the Screen to Speed? Is it really to represent Indonesia? Like what are some of the other things that you're hoping that this competition will give you?
Um, I think the other goal for me is I want to experience real racing. I want to experience going into a real racetrack.
Yeah.
Because last year I went to Indy 8 Hour. It was the very first time for me going into a racetrack. I
Hmm.
never go to a racetrack before. So my very first track that I visit is the Indianapolis, and it was
Ah.
wow, it was so amazing.
Yeah.
Honestly, it was the best moment in my
Yeah.
life ever. And I hear the sound of the car, going fast. Like,
Mhm.
oh God, I love it. I started to love it even more.
Yeah.
And since that time, I was like, I wanna race in real life one day. I wanna race in real life one day. I
Yeah.
wanna race in real life. I keep on saying that on my mind, and hopefully screen to speed can help me to pursue my biggest dream. I think this is like my biggest dream ever, racing in real life. I
Yeah.
don't know. It sounds impossible to me until today. I don't know, but
Hey,
we never know.
you're right, you never know, and
Yeah.
I love your mindset, like, the idea, like, you really do have it set, right? You're like, "Listen, this is what I want, and I'm gonna go after it," and I think that's beautiful. Um, so you said Indianapolis, right? That's where you went to the 500 or you went
Uh,
to the
in the,
Brickyard?
the in the 8 hour.
Oh, the 8 hour, nice.
Yes, the
I
in the
would
8 hour.
I would implore you, because they do this, at
Mm-hmm.
least I think they still do. They may or may not. They did it when I lived there, but that was
Mm-hmm.
many moons ago. You can
Mm-hmm.
actually do a tour around the track, so they'll drive you around the track, and it's really cool
Oh
because
wow.
I think what people don't realize is like because you see it on TV, and even if you see it in real life, you don't realize that
Mm-hmm.
the embankment on the track it's so high. It's almost like a 90-degree angle because of like the cars are
Yeah.
going so fast, so they gotta keep them there so they don't fly out.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, so I would say, I mean, you're not too far away from Indianapolis, so take another trip down there and
Of course, I'm
and see
planning
it.
to. Honestly,
Nice.
okay, this is a bit out of topic, but
Oh, no.
this year I'm planning
Okay.
to go to North America and Indianapolis. So, yep.
Nice. Nice. Well, my hope and dream this year is to catch one of the F1 races. There's three of them
Oh,
now in America this year. So there's
yeah,
one
we
in
have a lot
Miami,
in
Vegas,
America.
and then of course in Austin. And so
Vegas,
I
I kind of want to go to Vegas,
yes,
actually.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So
It's gonna be
I'm
super.
keeping my fingers crossed to see
Yep.
if I can catch one of these.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so actually, let's talk a little bit about you mentioned Vegas. So I'm curious. The finals do take place in Vegas. Have you ever been to Vegas?
Yes, I went to Vegas, I think 3 months ago. Just back from
Oh,
Vegas, actually. I can say, can I
oh,
still
okay.
say I just back from Vegas?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, you definitely can. Because I'm
But I
gonna
never
ask
been
you,
to the Speedway
you
before.
okay. Well, I was gonna say, well, like, what is it that you're hoping to do, or outside of just like the competition? Is there anything that you're interested in checking out while you're in Vegas?
Mm, maybe I want to check on the the site where people are working on the F1 paddocks and stuff.
Okay, yeah, yeah.
Last time I went there, it was still empty. So I want to see. I
Okay.
kind of want to see the progress. Like, how far did you guys go
Ah,
from last year
yes,
until now?
yes. Yeah.
And oh, one thing for sure, I wanna go on a trip with my friends because I think few of my friends are competing also in screen to speed.
Mhm.
So if it's possible and they want to, I really wanna explore Vegas with my girls, like
Nice.
having fun and finally because screen to speed. I mean, if I go to Vegas, it's gonna be the very first time in my life to meet my friends that I know from sim racing in
Wow.
real. Because
That's
yeah, we
cool.
always
Yeah.
talk on voice chat, Discord, that's it. But we
Yeah.
never met in person. So
Wow.
yeah, if I can go to Vegas, I would love to see my friends. I call them friends, of course, because they
I
are
mean,
my
they
friends.
are. They are,
Yeah,
yeah.
they are my
Yeah.
friends. Like we've been playing together since the pandemic time and stuff. So I would love to meet my friends in real life. Meet Steffi, of course.
Yeah. I mean, well, that's
Everybody.
well, that's like, man, you saying that just makes you realize, like, that's what makes this whole, like, racing thing really cool, right? Like,
Yeah.
I've never met you, and we're halfway across,
Mm-hmm.
two different spaces and places, but like we have this one thing in common, and
Yep.
getting on the track and being able to be on the track and race
Mm-hmm.
and share in that competition.
Mm-hmm.
You do build these relationships, you do build these friendships, and it
Mm-hmm.
would be really cool not just to like race in real life, right? But then
Yep.
get an opportunity to meet these
My
your
friends.
friends in real life.
Yeah.
That
Mm-hmm.
is, yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay,
Yep.
so one more question about the screen to speed.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, it is an all women's competition. It is an opportunity to bring women from the screen onto an actual racetrack,
Mm-hmm.
and it beautiful enough is backed by some pretty big names, right? We have Pennzoil, we have Ford, and of course we have Init Esports, who are sponsoring this event and really putting it on. And so I'm interested in knowing, like, what are your thoughts about like these amazing organizations, these big organizations,
Yeah.
really laying the foundation to support women getting into motorsports.
Yeah. First of all, I feel so happy. I feel so honored, to see such a big name behind
Yeah.
supporting this event. Me as a woman, I feel like we actually have a space here in
Hmm.
motorsport, in sim racing, in a world dominated by male. I think
Yeah.
99% people who play racing games are male, right?
Hmm.
So, we as a woman itself, we can't actually find a competition that
Mm.
is dedicated for women. We have few competition for that, but I think screen to speed is gotta be like one of the biggest competition for women here in sim racing. And yeah, I was like, oh wow, we got supported by Benzoil, Ford Performance, Calimos, Init Esports.
Yeah.
That's amazing. I mean, I sometimes I repost the
Uh-huh.
Instagram post to my story, and then I got people like, "Oh wow, really? Benzoil Ford Performance? What?" Something like
Yeah.
that, and
Yeah.
I was like, "Yes, I know." Like, and they were like, "Can I join too?" No, it's for women only this time. I mean, boys, you got a lot of competition. Just go. This is our time to
Yes.
actually
Yeah.
show what we got. Like, we can race. We can
Yeah.
race.
Oh, no, no, you definitely can. When I
Mm-hmm.
my first competition, and dare I say my only competition so far, I got introduced to a young woman, and I definitely say young because I'm older. My birthday is actually coming up, but I'm much older. And here's this young woman who I believe she was a high school senior, and
Oh,
she was my coach, and she was like far dominant than me. I mean, like the
uh
things
huh.
that she was able to like share and the insight that she gave me in terms of like just how to drive and the best
Yeah.
uh lines to take, and it was just incredible. And so I definitely think that there is a space and there's a lane for women,
Mm-hmm.
and I am honored to to help just be a part of it and be an ally in it, and I'm just excited to see where this whole thing goes, because I definitely see this screen to speed not just becoming just like this one thing, but like this thing where it's going to usher in so many women into motorsports, and who knows, not just like car racing, but there's you have boat racing, you have motocross, you have all these
Motocross.
other motorsports as well, and so it'll be really cool to see this series and this competition, be able to help and bringing diversity to
Mhm.
these fields. So
Yep.
cool. So I have this thing that I love to do. It's called favorites,
Mhm.
and I'm curious to know your favorites. And so this is my little segment I call "What's Your Favorite." So I want to start with this first one, which is, what
Mm.
is your favorite race car? No, you can do both. You can do sim race car and in real life.
Mhm.
But yeah, what car do you love to drive?
Okay, it's a tough question, honestly. It's a tough question because I have several cars that I like in
Okay.
sim. But I think for now, my current favorite car to drive is the Mercedes AMG, the
Ah,
GT3 car. I mostly race in GT,
yeah,
so
it's a
yeah.
tank though. That AMG is a tank. Yeah,
AMG is kind of honestly, I kind of have like a love hate relationship with this
yeah, yeah.
AMG. But once you get the feeling of driving it,
Hmm.
it feels great to drive.
No. Yeah, I know. No, it definitely has a speed. I'm always
Yep.
amazed because it's like it's one of the bigger cars and heavier cars, but
Mhm.
it hauls around the track.
Yep.
So yeah, so okay, all right. So Mercedes AMG, and
Yeah.
then what is your favorite track
Oh my
that you like to
god.
race on?
I have some, of course.
Okay.
But okay, number one, my most favorite track is Road America.
Ah, okay, all
I like
right.
the Road America and
Uh-huh.
Watkins Glen. I think that is my
Yes.
top two favorite track in the US.
Okay.
Indy, I like it, but I don't really like driving at Indy,
Yeah, yeah,
honestly.
yeah.
But yeah, Road America and Watkins is like my most favorite track in the
So,
US. And don't
so
forget about Sonoma. Sonoma.
yes, yeah, yeah, yeah,
I
yes.
love it. I love it so much. Sonoma.
Nice,
That
nice.
is
All
my
right.
top three favorite tracks.
So what is it? I'm just curious. What is it about those tracks that you love?
I'm sorry, what's that?
What is it about those tracks that you love? Like, are there? Is it the turns? Is it the like? What?
Um, Sonoma. Why I like Sonoma because that track is kind of complicated at first.
Yeah.
It's a
No.
complicated track, like elevation change,
Uh
like a
huh.
lot of blind spot. But once you know the track, you will love the track. I'm
Yeah.
telling you guys here, everyone, you might hate Sonoma at first, but once you get into it, you will love it.
Nice.
That's it. And Road
Mhm.
America, because I feel like Road America is one of my strong track in iRacing. Like I got a lot of podium when I'm racing in Road America.
Uh huh.
I just love the flow onto that track.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
just pretty and also the view is beautiful, not
Yeah.
gonna lie. And Watkins, it's a fun track. That's it.
Okay.
Like period.
Nice.
Like Watkins, beautiful track, and it's just so pretty. I think I just had my race at Watkins actually last night, and I really like the flow. Going from
Uh
turn
huh.
one, and then like you're going like fast, and
Uh
then
huh.
go straight to the bus stop, and then you go like the high speed corner kind of thing.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Every flow in Watkins is just so pretty.
Yeah. Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
Watkins is the track that makes me wanna watch a real race because
Nice.
I kind of
Nice.
want to watch people racing in Watkins in real life, and I watched it last night, and it was so fun. So maybe
Uh,
one day I will go to Watkins also.
I mean, hey, that's the way to do it, right? So you experience it in the sim, and then you watch it, on
Yeah.
YouTube, and then you actually
Mm-hmm.
be like, you know what? Let's actually do this thing in real life. That's
Mm-hmm.
cool. All right. So last favorite, which is, what is your favorite setup? Meaning, like, what gear? What is your favorite wheel? What wheel do you use? Yeah.
Okay, this is this is also interesting to talk about. Okay, so right now for my wheel, I'm
Hmm.
using from Trustmaster. I'm using the Trustmaster TGT2 with
Okay.
the TGT rim as well. This is like, I think for me, this is like the best wheel ever from Trustmaster.
Hmm.
For the belt driven wheel, I think TGT2 is like the best of the best.
Okay.
It first of all, it works for PC and PlayStation, so you
Yeah.
don't actually need the
So it's
hub or
versatile.
stuff.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So it's very convenient. Like when I'm streaming, like if I want to play Gran Turismo on PlayStation, I can just unplug and plug it to my
Mm-hmm.
PlayStation, and I'm not leaving my chat for a long time because I can just switch it.
Yeah. All
That
right.
is why I love my wheel, because I love it.
Yeah. I mean,
And then,
go ahead. Go
what's that?
ahead.
Okay. And for the rig, I'm using the Next Level Racing GT Elite with the
Nice.
ERS1 seat.
Yes, we
This is
see. Yeah.
very comfortable,
Hmm.
especially because I do a lot of endurance race. I'm into
Okay.
endurance, so mostly I only race in endurance race for competition,
Uh huh.
and sitting in this setup for a long time, it doesn't give you, any back pain or
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
whatsoever. So it feels so comfortable. It feels so nice to drive, and I think it is very important for everyone who wants to start doing sim racing. Please, your first investment has to be the pedals and a proper setup.
Yes, I definitely agree.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, think a lot about the wheel, right? And I
Yep.
mean,
True.
honestly, you can drive with a Logitech if you have some like
Mm-hmm.
the G29, but if you have a great pedal setup and a good chair,
Uh-huh.
then it'll make your experience so much better. Yeah,
Yep.
so I definitely agree.
Uh-huh.
Um, so before we get out of here, let me do my little pitch for everyone. For anyone else out there, if you're interested in wanting to know more about Screen to Speed and be a part of history, please make sure you check us out at www.screentospeed.com. Again, that's www.screentospeed.com. Thanks to all of our sponsors, especially Pennzoil, Ford, iRacing, Yahoo, and of course, Init Esports. So before we leave, Els, and I must say this was a great conversation to have.
Yeah.
There's two things that I need from you. First, we all know that this competition is not just about how fast you are on the track, but it's also about your engagement off the track. So for those people who are watching today, how can they get involved and how can they support you? Do you have like some social media handles that they can check out?
Yep, sure. Guys, if you really want to support my dream going
That's right. Pitch
into a
it.
real restaurant, come support me, guys. On Instagram at Indriani and TikTok also Indriani. I post a lot of things on Instagram, so make sure to follow me and support me going into this event, please, please, please. And
Yeah.
yeah, help me to pursue my goal going into Las Vegas Speedway, please, please. Thank you.
Nice. And last question I have for you is if what is some advice or what is it that you would say to a young girl or a young woman who is interested in getting into sim racing? What is some advice that you can offer them?
Um, a piece of advice that I can give to you all, my girls. Maybe don't be afraid. Don't be afraid, because a lot of people might be afraid, starting doing sim racing, because it
Hmm.
might it might look it might look hard at first. Everything is not crystal clear at first, but don't give up, don't stop. You have
Yeah.
to keep on doing it, and yeah, trust me, it is very rewarding. Once you actually know how to nail every corner, how to win the race. Once you win the race, everything is rewarding. So
Yeah.
don't give up too easy, because it's a long way to go. Sim racing has a very deep learning curves.
Hmm.
Everything is not crystal clear at first, but it's okay as long you guys keep doing it. Don't give up. Don't think about the lap time. As long you enjoy it, keep doing it.
Well,
That's a
so
piece of advice.
words from a wise woman. So I like to thank you, Els, so much for just taking out the time to speak to us, for breaking tradition in family, and and doing your
Yeah.
own thing, as well
Mhm.
as wanting to represent and show the world who Indonesia is when it comes to sim racing. And so, very grateful, very thankful to have had this conversation with you, and you've made a fan out of me, and I'll be rooting for you, and hopefully get the
Yeah.
opportunity to see you in Las Vegas. And so, with that being said, round of applause for Els, and once again, just thank you for your time. And for everyone else out there, please make sure you stay tuned in as we continue to interview all the different drivers who are going to be participating in this competition. And so with that being said, we will see you all next time.